Okay. So this is the beginning. The beginning was, well, first of all, the beginning was all the people who told us over the years you got to have to take a safari. Everyone said it's the trip of a lifetime and it's just an amazing thing, which I recommend to all of you. So we decided to go with a group called Overseas Adventure Travel, OAT, which a lot of people recommended. And they have groups like averaging around 14 people, and they have a whole philosophy of, they call it learning and discovery, where you aren't necessarily on a schedule. You stop, they see something interesting, you just stop and you look at it and learn about it. So anyway, so these are all our earth tone clothes, which we found at various thrift shops, because they recommended not to wear white, because that scares the animals, not to wear any bright colors, not to wear any black or blue or dark blue, because that can attract tsetse flies, which give you sleeping sickness. And so we bought the clothes, and then you can see here, this is my permethrin spray. All these clothes were sprayed both sides to try to ward off the mosquitoes with the malaria and the tsetse flies. So I'm not sure it was necessary in the end. We didn't see that many insects. Anyway,
that's
so
because you sprayed the permethrin.
It was also the dry season.
It was a dry season. So anyway, so we
flew.
flew. Okay. So anyway, so we flew. It basically took us 24 hours to get to Kenya, which is where we started. We went to through Amsterdam, and then we ended in Nairobi, and we went a day early to recover from the flight, and we basically didn't even get out of the hotel. We just slept for like 12 hours straight, relaxed, and had a great dinner. I had my first goat ribs at the restaurant, which were just delicious. Anyway, so we flew from Nairobi into this airport, little tiny airport with a dirt runway.
Airstrip.
Well, airstrip, yeah, not a runway. Yeah.
Right.
And I didn't take pictures from the plane because it was, too blurry. But this is sort of what we saw from the plane. Just you can see there are animals just everywhere here. Did I go back? Let me see. Yeah, I went too far. You can see these are all animals here in the back. They're just everywhere, and that's the most amazing thing. Your animals, so many animals, and so many different types of animals, and so close to you as well. So this is, as I said, this is sort of what we saw from the plane, though this was in the truck when we started off. And so at the airport, we found a bunch of Maasai who were selling various crafts. I bought something from them, so I got to get my picture taken with them. The Maasai people are just so sweet. They're always smiling. They're just incredibly friendly and welcoming. It's just wonderful. So anyway, so we started off on our trek. They had 3 different, these are Land Cruisers, Toyota Land Cruisers. All the groups use the same kind of truck. And we had 3 trucks for the 14 of us, so we had just a small group. You could easily see out of the car, and they'd stop anytime there's anything of interest to see, so you could take pictures.
Larry, are the browner ones in the zebra back there young ones?
Yes, exactly, yes. The brown ones are the babies, the teenagers. And these are Cape Buffalo, and these are oxpecker, the little birds that eat the insects that are on the buffalo. And we saw lots of different types of antelope. I think there were like 14 or more different types of antelope.
Some of them were too fast to get a picture. There's one the size of a dog, large dog.
With a wonderful name, the Dick. They come out at dusk, so you really can't get a picture of them, and they're very fast. And these are wildebeest. We'll see many, many wildebeest. There are millions of wildebeest, and That is also a type of antelope.
Yeah.
These are another type. This is a topi. And then we start to see giraffes. I mean, this is a giraffe baby.
Oh, and these are Maasai giraffe. You might notice the spots are not exactly what you think of seeing in the zoo. They look more like maple leaves or something. And that's a particular subgroup. I don't know if it's a species.
These are warthogs. No one else got excited about them, but I always liked the warthogs. And if you've seen Lion King, it's Pumbaa. It just is. And these are guinea hens. And we saw a bunch of, and this is actually, there were different types of ostriches. This is actually a male. So, and this is also, this next one, oops. No elephants, ostriches, come on. This is also a male, and that's doing a mating dance. So it wasn't doing it, this was not a homosexual relationship, as far as we know.
Right.
So, but this was doing this, with the female in front.
He does not have pink legs, however.
Yeah.
Now they're different types.
Oh, okay. It's different.
But all the pink legs were males.
Yeah, the pink ones were male.
Yeah.
So then we came upon elephants. An elephant baby.
Were they pretty used to having the cars come by?
Oh, you'll see pictures later. Yeah.
Totally.
All of these animals are
They
so,
just ignored
they just ignored us, which meant we could have probably worn the white shirts.
Right.
And this was basically the end of that first day. So we saw all that. But I put the slideshow is all in sequence, so you're seeing it as we went on the trip. So
Is that line there what the giraffes can get to on the tree?
Oh.
Yeah. Is that,
Maybe with the elephants, because the
Oh,
elephants
okay.
rub against the trees. I don't know.
I think that's just the shape of that tree. I think.
It's an acacia.
Yeah. So this was just as we were approaching the lodge we were staying at, which is next to this little Maasai village. And the Maasai, you may know, their whole world revolves around their cattle. I mean, they believe that their God gave the Maasai all of the cows in the world. They all belong to the Maasai. And you'll later see a picture of our Maasai guide. And we were talking with George, we were talking about, would you like to come to the United States someday? And he said, yes. And where do you want to go? He wanted to go to Texas to see the longhorns. So this was them bringing the cows back from their grazing during the day. This is like dusk. And this is the next day. Now there is actually an animal in this picture. Can anyone spot it?
Don't waste too much time on it.
Right, this is,
tsetse fly on the left?
There's something over
so
on the left.
this right here, that's a rhinoceros. And our guides, they're very trained to know what to look for. And they also, our 3 trucks were in radio communication constantly. So if one of them saw something, they would tell the others and we'd all stop. And they also monitor other groups that are traveling, and they share information. It's not exclusive. So if somebody sees something of interest, they let all their comrades know about it so that they can all, and you'll see places like, you'll be driving along these roads and you see up ahead several trucks parked. You say, well, there's something there to see. So we spent probably about half an hour at this site with all of our people in our truck saying, look, now where is it? No, it's like that, see that little bush there, sort of a yellowish, right No, don't look to the right, no, up. And then the next thing, the rhinoceros would walk behind a tree or a bush, so you couldn't see it at all. I mean,
So was this a black rhino? They're
Yes.
browsers rather than the white rhinos
Yeah.
that are grazers?
Yeah,
And
this
then
is
the
a-
black rhinos are harder to see because they browse in the bushes.
exactly, that's exactly what it was doing. It just, started over here and then walked behind this bush and then walked behind that and then walked out here. And so, anyway, but now we can say that we have seen the so-called Big Five. There's a whole thing about, the Big Five are the lion, the leopard, the Cape buffalo, the rhinoceros, and the
Elephant?
and the elephant, right? And the thing is, you think, oh well, those.
So
must
what's
be-
the giraffe? Chopped liver?
Yeah.
The giraffe is chopped liver because the Big Five was established like, I don't know, 100, 200 years ago, and it's what was the most difficult to hunt.
Oh, I see.
Nothing to do with their beauty or, yeah.
Rarity.
Right.
Anything.
And the other thing about that is, you think, well, oh my God, you're going to Africa, watch out for the lions. Well, the things that are dangerous, much more dangerous, are the Cape buffalo with those big horns,
Yeah.
and the elephants, and the hippopotamus. So,
They'll stampede, even if they aren't carnivores, they'll stampede. And even the lions watch out for them, right?
yeah, right. So this is just a view. And there's this is the kind of road we were on. You wouldn't believe the bumps that we took for hours every day. I mean, our guide later referred to it as the African massage. So you could see, so up ahead, out there, you can see all the trucks up there. There's something up there to see. And these are probably, I mean, there are wildebeests and zebras that are in this. By the way, this is the park now called the Masai Mara, which is the northern part of the Serengeti Park. The Serengeti Park is in Tanzania, and when it's in Kenya, it's called Masai Mara, even though it's really the same.
The Mara is a river, and Maasai's the tribe.
So there's some of these animals do stay here year round, but a lot of them have come from the Serengeti moving north because of the drought. Because it's
Always water
if
in,
there's, you're right.
in the Mara.
And later on, you've probably heard about the crossing, like all these millions, literally millions of zebras and wildebeest cross over the Mara River from the Serengeti into Kenya every September, which is part of the reason we went. That's, we hoped we'd see that, and you'll see pictures of that later. And these are some cranes.
Stork.
Storks, yeah, excuse me, yeah, the cranes are later. Yes, storks.
Be careful, Larry. Eric and I are.
I know, well, I would, actually, we're not that into birds, we were hoping that you would help us with that.
Our birds move too fast for us.
Yes,
Oh.
yeah, that was our first lion, and you'll see this, so we spotted this lion. I mean, again, probably our guides, maybe heard from someone that there was a lion nearby, or maybe we were the first to spot it. Anyway, so we found this lion here, and this lion then got out of that spot and walked, and then went over here, and you can see right here, this is its prey. It got a little baby wildebeest, which is then
She, right?
she, of course, yeah. Which she dragged out of there, brought it over here. You can see how close they got to you. They don't care.
No, she was trying to show you.
Yeah, she's trying to show
Maybe
you.
like a cat, right?
Well, they do.
Yeah, it's like a cat bringing me a mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, there you go. And then she took it off somewhere else.
Huh.
And just by chance, the next picture, this is not the same wildebeest, but the next thing we came upon was this, which is what happens when the lions and the hyenas and the jackals are done. The vultures come in.
You gotta eat.
How big are those compared to our vultures?
Oh, probably about the same, do you think?
Bigger? I don't know.
They're a little bigger.
No, these are bigger.
Maybe bigger. Some more wildebeests. More giraffes.
Chopped liver.
Oh, I started something.
And here you see, this is a line of wildebeest that probably was coming from the crossing. And they line up like this. Apparently, we heard that they've got like a scent gland in their hooves, which is how they, follow each other along the trail. And we stopped for a snack. So that's George, our Maasai guide, and other people.
He's wearing bright color.
Oh, well, that's true. Well, that's the
Yeah.
traditional, all the Maasai, they traditionally wear red. This is a modern version of what they used to wear, which was was it Cape Buffalo?
A cowhide.
It was a cowhide, yeah, it was a
Cowhide,
cowhide,
which was
right.
sort of reddish brown.
Yeah.
And when they saw this brighter red, they adopted it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he wasn't just wearing this dress, this is just what he wore every day, and what the people did.
Makes him easy to
Right.
find.
Where is the rest of the group from?
All from the US,
Okay.
from California to New Jersey.
Yeah, and this is the group that was just with us in Kenya. When we got to Tanzania, 3 more people joined us. This was
Right.
sort of like an extension of the tour.
Right.
And this was just a view from that lunch place. So the next thing, I mentioned the crossing. So we headed over, and we had so much luck on this trip. It was just amazing. We got to this place and we parked our truck, and there were like a zillion trucks all parked, and basically they were just waiting for a signal from some truck that was down by the river to let us know the wildebeest had started to cross. And our driver, and these drivers that we had, we had the guide George, plus we had 2 drivers. One of them said that he once waited 2 days at this site, waiting for the crossing, and it didn't come. So we were there 10 minutes, and off we went. I mean, it was like a race. The trucks just sped off, to get a good spot to view them. So anyway, so there they are. Just, uphill you could just see more of them, and they were just coming down, and crossing across the river, and coming up the other side.
Our side, right, coming up on our side. And
Yeah.
they ignored us.
Yeah.
We didn't deter them at all. And they just follow the leader, the wildebeest. Now you can see some
There's a
zebras
zebra
there,
there, yeah.
and they would get nervous and try to go back up.
So there's some that made the crossing over, and now they're just heading off.
So were there crocodiles in the river?
Yes, absolutely. We saw a crocodile. They were patrolling, waiting for,
Strangle.
and
Or a small one.
I think we saw at least one dead wildebeest in the water. They stumbled and drowned, and apparently they are so driven to cross that even if it's high water, they will still go, and many will die. And the
So
crocodiles feast.
this was water they needed to swim in, Larry, or
Oh, yeah.
it was shallow enough that they could walk across?
No, they were swimming.
They walked part of the way across them, then they had to swim.
Yeah, you'll see a picture later of them swimming.
I
Yes.
couldn't tell how wide it was.
Well, you'll see a picture later to show a bit
Okay,
better.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So the zebras, they were, as Sarah said, they're a little
There's
more.
one trying to go back up, you see its rear end, right?
They're a little skittish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that looks pretty narrow.
Yeah.
Well, it's the dry season.
Okay.
So you get a sense of just how many trucks are there, and this is just some of them.
Yeah.
That's the kind of truck we were in.
And
So-
you're in the truck, or you?
Oh yeah, you're not allowed out of the truck.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
there are people there on top.
Yeah, you can be on top, but you can't be out of the truck. In
Oh,
fact, we later learned, when we were in the Serengeti, they told us that if you are out of the truck, you are fair game of a ranger to shoot you, because they might think you're a poacher. So, it's not just to keep you safe from the animals. So anyway, so this is where they were coming down that slope, and this is where that first picture was on the other side. So you can see they are swimming. And then downstream, these are hippopotamus. you'll see a lot of sleeping animals, a lot of lazy animals in Africa, that other nocturnals.
Right, right.
What was the temperature like, Larry?
Oh, it was warm, it was warm.
But it, yeah, except in the sun, it wasn't really sweltering. I mean, it was hotter when we were in Italy, 10 years ago.
Okay, Clarinet, what kind of bird is that?
Well, we're thinking it's an eagle.
Yeah,
But
we,
it's hard to see the markings,
Yeah.
so, but it's eagle.
yeah, we thought, we don't know what type of, yeah, some sort of eagle. And this, you see the animal there?
Yeah.
That's a leopard. They're very, very shy, they're very solitary, very hard to find.
I'm very tired.
Very tired, very tired, yes.
They're cats, they
That's
never
right.
lie.
Yeah.
And these are baboons,
What kind of, they just.
African baboons.
Easy Africa.
And then we got to our lodge, and they'd arranged for some Maasai to do a performance for us. They do this thing. This is, I guess, this part of, I'm not sure, just for fun or just to be strong. They do this thing where they jump, and if you can imagine, they start doing this as little boys, and they get pretty good at it.
It's pretty, right?
And they just they were having fun.
Right, yeah.
This is a cheetah, and you can see all the prey up there. It's a sort of a potential prey. So our guide said that they went to this spot because I guess they knew that the cheetahs were around there. There apparently was a band of brothers, they called them. There were 5 cheetahs that were together hunting, and they just roamed from place to place, and the guides basically knew where they were going. They kept in contact with each other. So unfortunately, we had a flat tire, so we had to, we were up on the hill, and while we were changing our tire, apparently the cheetahs took down a wildebeest. So we later we got our tire changed and moved on. We got to see, this is the prey. And the most interesting about this, and again, watch just all the other animals just out there watching. This
wasn't me.
This is actually a hyena eating with the cheetahs, and our drivers and guides, they just went crazy. They kept saying, never seen hyena with cheetah, never. Usually the hyena comes after when to clean up. So somehow they were okay with it. So that was
And they had never heard of hyenas and cheetahs sharing.
yeah. So that was, our guides were, they were as excited as we were about seeing things that they hadn't seen. So then we came upon the lion and resting. And he got up,
Oh, my
Got a
goodness.
nice name.
Really?
and then his mate came along, and they walked off together,
What a gorgeous animal.
Yeah.
and they laid down again. And these are young male lions, and when we in between the last shot and this one, we had stopped for a break for a snack up at the top of the hill, and our guide George, I saw him on the edge of the hill with his binoculars just searching, and he spotted these little tiny, they were way far away from the hill, and he spotted them, so then we went down the hill in the trucks and to see them, but he had good eyes. And then we went to another lodge where there were some Maasai women who were making bracelets and other things to sell.
I bought something.
Yeah, we always bought something. And then this is George again, dressed in his traditional hunting warrior costume. Right. So to become a Maasai warrior, you have to go through a number of rituals. First, you have to get circumcised, and it's a Oh, maybe you're, maybe they do the ear first.
Yeah, they get the teeth,
Oh,
two
oh.
lower front teeth pulled, ears pierced.
Right, and then the circumcision, which is done in public, and if you flinch or cry out, you are ostracized
Or
the
a
rest of your
tear.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your family loses status.
when the Maasai are famous for being, I mean, besides being nice, they're also famous for being good warriors. And the other tribes are afraid of them, and this is how they got to be so fierce and strong and resilient. One of the other things they had to
Much better to
do,
do it when they're 8 days old.
I know, I know.
the other thing they had to do in the past, they don't do this anymore, but they had to kill a male lion, full-grown lion. And now they still have to show their courage, and when George had to do his ritual, he stole a crocodile egg instead.
Life threatening, but
yeah.
not endangered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the shield is apparently made, I think, is it 2 layers of Cape buffalo hide, so it's very strong.
And his family was Christian, but he went off to Catholic school, secondary school, but he managed to fulfill the rituals of his tribe, and he's now a senior warrior.
Yeah, I think so. And this is showing this is a wedding necklace here,
The long fringe,
and this is a gourd.
drinking gourd.
And this is a jackal. And just reminded me that I didn't get any pictures, but we at some point saw jackal babies and lion cubs and cheetah cubs. But they were all way off the road in the high grass, just so camouflaged. But you could just occasionally see one peek out, but impossible to really get a picture. More Cape Buffalo.
I dare you.
And more topi and antelopes. But they do wake up.
Yeah.
Look at the size of his head compared to those.
And this was just on the way back at the end of the day, and just this random bull elephant just walking by.
Which is the most dangerous. A male bull elephant by himself is the most dangerous.
Yeah, probably, yeah. And this is the next day. This is actually on the way to the airport. This is our last day in Kenya. And these are hyenas.
So lots of noise,
No, well, at night. Yeah, we heard them when we were camped in Serengeti, which I'll tell you about later. So this is our first, so then we went to Tanzania. This is our first day in Tanzania. So we met.
You didn't swim the river?
No.
In fact, you used to be able to cross the border there, but I guess it was Tanzania found that everyone would go to Kenya, they'd cross the border to see Tanzania, and then they'd go back, and they'd be in the park in Tanzania, and Tanzania would get no money except the crossing fee. So they said you can't cross in the park anymore. So you have to go through there, maybe stay in a hotel, maybe get something to eat, buy something at a market.
Right. So anyway, so we had a new, different guide when we got to Tanzania, who was not a Maasai,
Named David.
named David. And so this is the first thing we did. We were just driving along, and apparently there's a weekly market that happens. And so we all got out of the truck and followed him in there. And there we were with, there's Sarah with they're cooking some goat ribs there. And this is, besides selling all sorts of different things, it's also like a cattle auction. We're there.
And the fences are made of piles of thorn acacia branches and to keep the animals in. That's the corral.
And they also were selling goats. and we attracted a bunch of young boys, and this one, I think, did you
He
read?
spoke English.
Yeah,
He spoke English. He wanted to practice his
Yeah.
English. That's his father right behind him.
yeah. We were the only white people at this whole thing. There were probably 1,000 people there.
And these two little boys followed us around. They were,
Yeah.
and these ladies run a tea shop.
And they also had a little tent where they were selling beer. All right, so that was the end of the market. And then we went, this was the scheduled stop. This is a place that makes water filters. Yes, because there's so many people out in the country don't have, especially the Maasai, who are traditionally nomadic, and even now they're just in little villages isolated. They don't have any access to clean water.
And even in the cities, they say don't drink the water.
Right, so this place, I forgot who founded it. But anyway, but they
I think it was a tourist who was a
They-
potter at home.
yeah, they figured out
And
this.
they made flower pots.
Right, and they figured out that it's a special construction of the special clay, and it's got a built-in, like, when they fire it, they've got like a carbon layer inside the clay to help filter the water.
No, it's made with local clay and local pine sawdust and colloidal silver. And when it's fired, the pine sawdust turns into charcoal, and it removes 99.99%, as much as they can tell, as of the any disease-causing organisms. And it costs, what was it, $40, $45,
Something like that.
something
And how
like
long
that.
does it last?
I think they said, was it 5 years?
Yeah, and for $40, you get that, you get a plastic bucket with a lid and laminated instructions, including pictures.
Wow.
So,
So what they did, let's go back. Oh, I'm going the wrong way, sorry. So we had the opportunity to buy a water filter to donate. So Sarah and I bought one, and other people bought one, and we went off with like 4 of them, and just to give to people that we would meet along the way. And you'll see that shortly. So after we stopped here, we went to this place called
the
the,
next day, I think.
no, it was right, it was
I'm listening.
same time.
Okay.
And this is called the albino.
Peacemaking.
Right. So these are albino Africans who have traditionally been discriminated against, it doesn't even put it, because they've been killed, because they're regarded as ghosts. They're also regarded as, like, the witch doctors would tell people that if they killed albino, they would improve their financial prospects. Or
Bring me the hand of an albino, and I will do this spell that will make your business succeed.
And the other thing is that so this is all about, it's about educating the public that, they shouldn't treat albinos this way, but also to educate the albinos about all their health risks, because they cannot go out in the sun, because they get skin cancer very quickly.
And their families also. If you have an albino baby, you've never heard of staying out of the sun. And their eyes also, they can become blind from sun damage.
Right, so this is a center where they live, and they make purses and
Out of
wallets.
traditional
And,
African textiles.
right, so we bought one for Anna.
Aprons and, yeah.
So do they have sunscreen on there?
Well,
They're out in
it
the
was a
sun?
shady place, I think.
So this is where we stopped for lunch at this restaurant, and it turned out there was an engagement party, which we just sort of stumbled upon, and we were very friendly.
This is a maid of honor, bridesmaids.
And this is the
Happy
couple.
And they were, just friendly and happy to pose for pictures, and it's really neat.
Right, and then, so this is just another example of just how, just a random interesting thing, like, every day, we'd be out on the,
Learning and discovery, right?
we'd be out, out in the trucks looking at things, or these planned visits that we just saw. And every afternoon, there was like a walk with the leaders. So anyone who wants to go for a walk, let's go see what we can find. And so we stumbled upon this woman right in a little shop where she made dresses and garments for people and sold fabric. This is her grandson. And so we talked with them for a while. Her granddaughter was making popcorn. And we got to eat some popcorn. So, and then this is the next day. This is again, this was not a planned thing. We're driving along, and our leader said, "Oh, let's go look at this. This woman. This is her business. She had set up this little tiny stand in front of a store
On the porch.
on the porch, and she made these little rice cakes that she cooked. She put a little bit of oil in there, had a fire under there, and at the end, we bought some and ate them, and they were absolutely delicious. And she also had a couple other things she was selling, and the arrangement is that she like is sort of renting the space from the store, but the store is selling oil and things, so she buys the oil from the storekeeper.
And I think she makes the batter at home the night before and it ferments a little overnight.
Right. So these are some of her other customers. And this is just, driving along the highway, you just see some people herding their
Sometimes a child
herding their cattle and their goats.
sometimes sheep, right?
And then this is another example of just, learning and discovery. One of our people in one of the trucks said to the leader, like, what's going on over there? Are they digging?
Why is that woman down in
Are
that
they
hole?
digging a well down there? No, this woman is taking rocks from here and breaking them up to sell. This is her job. So she's taking this hammer, like Anna would use in blacksmithing,
It's literally the same weight,
to break up rocks
pounds.
and put them in buckets. And then
For making roads or
Yep,
something, right?
yep, and then she carries them up out of that pit and makes a pile, and these piles are different people's produce, like, this is her pile, and this is somebody else's pile. And they do this, and then at some point, a construction company truck will come along the road and purchase their pile. So, think about that when you're having a bad day at work. So this is our first stop where we gave her one of those water filters. And you can see there's the plastic container and there's the filter. And this is our guide, David, who was explaining to her, he spoke Swahili as well as English, obviously, and he's explaining to her what this is. And most people that we met, they had no idea about these water
They
filters.
were just a few miles away from the place where they were made.
Yeah. So, and it's a thing that could be shared with other families and relatives. So it's not, David is on a mission to just really help his people. And just because people were dying of diseases from the bad water.
Do they understand the connection between the water?
Yeah. Oh.
They know if they take water home, they have to boil it.
They know that.
And this
Okay.
means they don't have to boil it.
Which
And-
means they don't have to spend time gathering fuel.
Right.
And chopping
Right,
all the
and
trees.
I said to him, yeah, it prevents deforestation, and it also prevents indoor air pollution. And he said, and I hope that these people will realize that they could sell to a couple of goats. And then nobody in their family will die. The average family size is 8 children.
Because they can buy a new one.
And then they can, to buy in 5 years when they need a new filter, or some of their neighbors who would like a filter. And then they don't have to have as many children or as many wives. And he has 1 wife and 2 children. He is also Christian.
After this, then we went on, we saw another place, and these were Maasai women who were gathering water in these containers from this, very
Incredibly
muddy. You can see here's the donkey poop right here, because they bring
And other animals.
right, because they bring donkeys to bring back the
Yeah.
water. And how far had they said they traveled to get there?
2 hours.
Right.
2 hours, because there was a pond closer to their home, but it was dried up.
So we gave the remaining 4 of the water filters to the group that was at this pond. David said there was only one woman among them who had ever heard of the filters.
And priority, first dibs to the pregnant women.
And this is just a shot of another market that we passed. We didn't actually go to this one, but it's just,
What are the greens that they're?
well, we're trying to figure that out. We don't know if they're collards or something else.
They don't look like kale, but they might be. And lots of mints, lots of mints.
Yeah.
And used clothing and sometimes new stuff too.
And then we went to this other park. This is a park, this is a baobab tree
I
here,
was wondering, okay.
which,
Yeah.
and later on we were driving along, we saw young boys along the side of the road trying to sell what turned out to be baobab fruit, which looks sort of like a long squash or a long sweet potato, and apparently make a sweet drink out of it. But anyway, this is a park that was especially known for having lots of elephants. We first saw some more wildebeests and more ostriches and more antelope. And then we started seeing the elephants. So you were asking how close they get. This is how close they get.
Can I have a scratch or
And this is a young one, maybe not a baby, but a young one.
You can see there's a baby sheltered between 2 larger ones. So we actually we Googled this to find out why do they put dust on themselves? And apparently it's to ward off the sun.
Sunscreen. Right.
Aren't they matrilineal, but matriarchal?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
these are all females.
The ones with the children,
Yeah, that whole group is all
They're-
females and children.
right.
So is there
Right.
one bull that goes with a crowd of females?
I don't think
or-
so. I think they're just males
The bulls
here and there
wander.
around. Yeah,
So
I think.
Looking to
I've heard that, some, in order to preserve the elephants from being slaughtered, sometimes their tusks are painted so that they're not of interest to the
Oh, we
army.
didn't
Did you
see
see
that.
any of that?
No, we didn't see any of that, but yeah, I have heard
Yeah,
that.
both Kenya and Tanzania are very protective of their animals. I mean, because they rely on the tourist trade. So,
Right.
and then they've created a bit, a tourist industry. Right? There's so many of these guides and drivers
And lodges.
and lodges.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and hotel.
so there's more baboons and
Or
giraffe,
acacia trees.
and more giraffes.
Yep. And one of the women in our group said that having seen the baby elephant play in the water was the high point of her whole visit, her 2-week visit. And that was what was it, crested,
It's an
Crane.
African crane.
right?
Yeah, what's it on the sandbar in between?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the little guys there?
Killdeer or something?
I don't know.
Clover?
Hard to focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like ducks.
And because it was a dry season, you'll see lots of animals drinking. There's a little monkey,
Mhm.
and that's a mongoose.
Are there any bonobos in where you were?
No, that's a monkey. Our
Different-
closest
No,
relative.
no.
Different part of Africa, I guess.
Yeah. And this is a termite, which the mongooses eat the termites. Lots of things eat termites, but that's one of the things the mongoose eats. More baobabs and wildebeests.
And they don't have leaves, but we're going to get them, I think we were there in September, the short rains come in December maybe, they'll make leaf out.
And this is, this is the road around here, we have to wait. More warthogs,
Big tusks.
giraffes. And bird nests.
Weaver nest.
And this was a stop we made, and this of course in the wet season is all full. This is just a trickle at this time of the year. You can see a couple of giraffes down there.
So where were you photographing from? You were up in the treetops.
No, yeah, we're just an overlook.
Nice shot.
Yeah.
So, that's a bluebird.
An African bird.
The African bluebird.
Starling, that's a starling.
Thank you. And that's actually a flock of ostriches.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It could be almost anything.
But they are
But
ostriches.
they are ostriches, right? Agree.
And this is a warthog that got its hairdo from someone in Washington, D.C.
Similar disposition.
Okay, so this is the next day. This was a scheduled stop. We went to this Maasai village, traditional village, and they had a whole program of activities for us. The company they try not to go to the same village over and over again. They don't want, so they rotate who they go to.
They don't want them to be dependent.
Yeah.
Right. And again, they were just so friendly and welcoming. It was just like a highlight of the trip.
He
And
looks a little happy.
well, yeah.
He's probably just shy.
The animals were great, but the people were just amazing.
He's wearing jeans underneath that kit.
Yeah, yeah, some of them do, some don't.
And they all all the Maasai herders have a stick, for herding their animals, and so the little boy has his own little stick.
And
Getting ready.
they only get that after they go through the rituals. The stick.
He's pretty.
So it's
Yeah,
not,
they
it's
don't,
nothing to do with Morris Dancing.
no,
Yeah.
nothing to do with one. Right.
Okay.
So again, so this was morning, and they were just getting ready to take their cattle out to graze, and
This is the corral surrounded by the piles of thorn acacia branches.
and they were planning on showing us a couple things, which you will see in a moment. But before that happened, just out of the blue, something else happened, which was that one of the cows is ready to give birth. So I'm going to show you the sequence. It's not a movie, but I'm going to show it to you quickly, and I can go back and show you again, so you'll see what we saw.
Larry, quick question.
Yes.
They look pretty skinny.
Yeah.
Is there a drought going on?
Oh yeah,
There was actually,
this is the dry season.
and it was also a long drought.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, so here's the cow.
Oh my goodness.
And you're standing there now, right?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
we're
that's the
standing there, all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. So the baby came out, and it wasn't breathing, so he's blowing air into his nostrils, and it still wasn't, so he sucked out from the nostrils to get it to breathe. And there it is. So I'll show that out to you again real quickly. Let's see.
So from go to whoa, how long was it?
It-
5 minutes?
It actually took longer. They thought, well, yes, she's not ready yet, and then they called us over again.
No, I thought this happened all pretty quickly, so there wasn't any delay here. So, anyway, so then they moved on to the thing they were planning on showing us. So he's sharpening the end of an arrow.
And this is the,
And what they do, then they gathered up a cow, put a tourniquet around its neck, tightened it, aimed for
the judge,
I guess it's
a vein, whatever.
And-
Artery,
and-
actually an artery.
Right, so it's just, that little point's just gonna go in enough to break the vein, or the artery, and then they collect the blood,
In the drinking gourd.
which this guy offered me. And they were doing this, they traditionally drink the blood of their cows, and this was for the mother of the chief who was ailing, who was like restorative to her.
Elderly and frail.
That's a
And so
remedy.
they gave her the richest, healthiest food they could think of.
And they mix it, with the cow's milk, blood plus milk. Not kosher.
And then there's the,
Ultimately not kosher, right?
does this kill the cow?
No, not at all,
Just
no, no, no.
tap the,
No, in fact, that's a good
Just
thing.
giving blood.
What they did, after they took out the blood and they removed the tourniquet, they pulled off a bit of the cow's fur, mixed it with some dirt and plugged up the hole.
Yeah, and after the delivery, the chief's son, he brushed off his hands like that, and then he rubbed them in the dust, and brushed
Yeah.
them up again.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So the next thing is they show us how they traditionally make fire, or maybe still make fire. They did this so fast and easily, it was
It's
amazing.
amazing, isn't it?
And of course, they do have a machete, but still pretty traditional.
And the next thing, this is a traditional welcoming ceremony for visitors. They make a tea to give to visitors from some, I'm not sure what the plant is, but it's and you can see they serve this in little cups.
So what are the collars made of?
Oh, they're all beads.
Beads
Those are
and
all beads.
wire.
I mean, traditionally they were, was it porcupine or?
I don't know what they
Yeah, I think it might have been, yeah.
Porcupine quills, they do a lot with that.
Yeah, so now it's beads. And I think some of these are the chief's wives. One of them is the first wife,
Right.
we'll see later.
We'll see later.
So then we got
Any
to,
concerns about drinking the tea?
Some people didn't wanna drink the tea, the guide said it was okay, so I drank, they prepared tea for us, so I
Yeah.
drank it.
yeah. And he told us what to say in their language if we didn't want, like, thank you, and so we got to
Yeah.
say that to be gracious.
Right.
So the next thing they did, we all sort of paired off with some of the Maasai ladies, and you can see Sarah got to do some beading.
Or I got to watch while she did the.
Right, okay.
Very fast.
And some of the people were taking videos of the people and would show them to them, and it was kind of fun.
Right.
They
And
don't
what-
make the beads, they have to buy the beads.
They have
Yes,
to buy the
right,
beads,
right.
yeah,
Right.
but it's another income stream.
And one of our, we were told we brought lots of school supplies. We brought some books with us and pencils and things. And we saved ours to give to a school that we later went to, but one of our members gave out pencils to the kids, as you could see.
The information they sent out ahead of time said that some children actually cannot go to school for want, the schools are public, but they cannot go to school because they are required to bring a pencil and they can't bring a pencil.
Can't afford to have a
So he brought hundreds of pencils and handed them out every place he went.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't see roundabouts in the other pictures. Was this the only village, the first village that you had the traditional houses?
Oh, they're.
We saw them all over.
Yeah, this was the only one we visited.
Right.
But this was like in a community of, there were other villages like
Nearby.
nearby, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we saw some out in the middle of nowhere with a corral full of,
And the thing is
What is
that,
that hut made of? Is it
we'll,
mud brick? Yeah,
we'll go
okay.
back to that, we'll
Yeah.
get to that.
yeah,
But
they
the-
showed us.
The thing about it, that they're, you know, I mean, they are living this life, this is, you know, they are totally traditional, but
As much as
whether
they
it's, whether it's gonna change in the near future is another question, because I think they said like 5 years ago, they required the Maasai children to go to school.
for
So
the
this,
first time.
so this is like in a sort of a complex, and there is a school there. And so what's gonna happen when those children go to school? Are they going to come back to the village and continue this, or are they gonna?
And it interrupts their nomadic stuff.
Well, the nomadic thing is sort of stopped, they're now
Right,
living in the village.
right, exactly.
So anyway, so this is a traditional dance that they did for us.
Welcoming,
Yeah.
to show that they're glad to see us. And they,
So who has the elaborate headdress on? Is that,
I don't know, he was just, I don't
We-
know, he was just the one who got to do it that day, I guess.
we don't know.
Larry, is that digital graininess there, or is there actually raked gravel there?
No, been,
It's,
it's been there the
there's,
whole time.
I think there's a little bit of a, like a woven texture on the screen.
This is green.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, and then we got to see some more jumping.
Yeah.
And then the women have their own sort of traditional kind of dance, where they sort of go up on their toes, and it's to make the necklace go up and down.
I did my best. Not supposed to jump actually, but,
Yeah, just up on your toes.
yeah.
And then they also do this thing, this is like sort of maybe a dating ritual, where the man sort of approaches a woman and sort of like, they bump shoulders.
Right.
And the next thing is, they had Sarah check out how to carry things on their head. I mean,
Right.
we saw lots of people carrying amazing stuff on their heads, just, you know.
They didn't make us carry much.
Right.
You strap it on?
No,
no?
no,
Just
they
balance it?
gave us a sort of a donut that goes under it. And then, we brought materials that they used to repair their hut. And the bundles, like the bundles of grass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what you were carrying, right. You were going.
Well, mine was wood, but others were carrying grass maybe.
Right, so this, I mean, they live in these huts, this is where they live, and this is just repairing the roof with adding
And
on.
they're made of, it's a wood frame and, cowhide, and with mud on rubbed on it,
Well, it's not just mud,
right?
it's,
Yeah.
it's
A
mud plus
mixture of,
mud and cow manure
right.
mixed together, that's what is on the side of the house.
So this is pretty stationary, this is their village.
Right,
they stay
right,
down
right.
Those houses.
Right, and but that's a new thing, I mean, they used to be totally nomadic, and they would make a village like this and then just move on, build new
And
huts.
maybe they'd come back to it next year and have to repair it a bunch.
Yeah. So then we got to all gather around, this is the chief and his first wife, and we had like a question and answer session with our guide translating. And I still find it hard to believe, you know, but he actually asked the men, so how many wives do you have? How many cattle do you have?
1 and 0.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. So it's just, I mean, and,
Yeah.
you wanna tell about the?
Oh, David said that the first wife here, he said she has been having a lot of trouble lately. And what happened was, she's the midwife for the tribe, that's her skill. And she delivered babies from her daughters and maybe granddaughters and daughters-in-law. And one of the young women was having a very difficult delivery. And she had to go to the hospital, and the first wife went with her to the hospital, where she and the baby unfortunately died. And the doctors told her that the reason she died was because of the female genital mutilation. That, who knows, she may have also performed, I don't know. And, you know, the scar tissue doesn't stretch as well as other parts of the body. And so she made it her mission to ask people to stop doing that. And she went to other villages and talked to them. And she got some opposition, which was when he was talking about the trouble she'd been having. Oh, also they offered around cups of alcohol that they had fermented and distilled themselves. And after making sure that it was made from rice and corn and not wheat, since hardly anybody else would take any, I took some, and it was very good. Yes, and this is the chief's son.
With hints of cow dung on the outside.
Well, I think that's what everybody was afraid of, but, you know.
Yeah. That's the chief's son. So he's the one who will be, I mean, he's the first son.
Right.
He's the one who will take over.
Right.
It is hereditary, is it, the
Oh, yeah,
chief's
yeah,
position?
yeah.
He seems very young for that older chief.
I know, I
And
know.
he's the first wife's son?
Yes, I think
yes.
so, yeah.
Because she seemed quite old.
He seems awfully young to be the firstborn of the
Well,
first.
He might have been preceded by 10 sisters or something.
Well,
That's
that's
true.
a
That's
possibility.
That's
Like
the point.
sisters first.
Yeah.
Or he could be older than he looks.
Yeah. Anyway, and so then
And she may be younger than she looks.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
they,
right.
right. So anyway, so then they brought out a bunch of their things that they'd made, which we could buy, which would, you know, to help to support, this is, you know, part of the
The
quid
perk,
pro quo, if you will.
the perk,
Yeah.
yeah, they get
We were
good.
happy to buy things from them. And then the children danced and sang and serenaded us at the end.
Right.
And then all the women also sang at the end.
Right.
And the tunes are like in major key that are similar to our tunes, right?
I don't remember.
They were nice, I don't remember them specifically.
Yeah.
So then our next stop, we went to a lodge which had its own organic farm and coffee plantation. And again, this was just one of those extra things that, you know, a walk at the end of the day you could do, which I went on. And there's the coffee being dried.
Do they have them covered there, Larry?
Yeah,
Like cheesecloth or something, screening or?
yeah.
It was,
Remember?
it was early evening, maybe they cover them for the night. Do you know?
I think that's it. I think if they roll it out during the daytime to let it dry when it's hot. I'm not sure.
I didn't go, I rested.
Yeah, so you don't know what it is.
I'm not really remember.
Yeah.
And then this is, so this is driving along the next day. And so back, I'm not sure when it was, when they founded the national parks, like the Masai Mara and the Serengeti, there were Maasai living there or traveling through there as nomads. And they basically made an agreement with them that they would no longer be in the actual parks. So they sort of had to move out of it. So this is not in the park, this is heading to the park. And you can just see, you know, you see this very often. You have the herders with their cattle, and then you've got the wild animals. And the Maasai do not hunt wild animals. They only eat cows and goats. There's one type of antelope called the eland, which, because it sort of reminded them of a cow, it's the most cow-like of the antelopes. That one is like the footnote. That's the exception, that they're allowed to eat that one.
But
And
really, only in drought.
yeah, we're sort of thinking like that was just like a stopgap. Like in the years, say, it was such a bad drought that their cows died. They had to eat something, so their elders came up with this exception. Like, okay, then you can eat this one. But they do not hunt any of the wild animals, and they obviously coexist. this is on the way to the Serengeti. This is, we passed by, this is another Maasai village, and they were clearly doing like some sort of a welcoming dance performance for another group.
And see the round huts.
About how many people live in those villages?
Good question.
Not a lot, I mean, those huts aren't that big, I mean,
I think each hut has a woman, lives in it, 8 children, but fewer men than women, I guess.
yeah, and I think, I mean, actually what, like, when the chief would have like a second son, third son, fourth son, and daughters, they would leave the village and go off and start their own little group.
Right.
Now, there are some huts outside that stockade fence there where they, see, there's a fence around most of it, but then there are some here that are outside.
The fence, is the fence to keep in the air?
The fence was probably for the animals.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
right, for the cows,
Hard to say.
yeah, but that's it. And,
Mhm.
eating the acacia.
Tree looks changed.
Yeah.
And here we are at the entranceway to the Serengeti National Park, which is very, very dry. This is, you'll see how dry this is. This is like a little overlook of this stop we made. This is looking out, this is the Serengeti. And Serengeti was Swahili for endless plain. And you can see this is why all those wildebeest and zebra decided to leave and head north,
Right.
because it's so dry. They come back here, they cross back that river in, in November maybe,
For the rainy season.
because it's, by then it's raining here and this is all green. And then they have their babies here.
And this high place that we were on, apparently there were volcanoes near here and large chunks of rock, partially molten or something, were ejected and landed here and there around the place.
There was a big foundation being laid in that previous picture. See on the bottom
Oh,
left?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess they're expanding this stuff.
Oh, that's
So,
interesting.
lions, they like to be up high so they can find some prey.
Like something straight out of Lion Breed.
Yeah, really.
Sleep on the ground.
In the shade.
Mm.
Wow.
And these are some cheetahs coming out for a drink. And that's a hyena getting a drink in the road.
It's like it had rain.
Yeah.
Well, it did rain, but not much at all while we were there. It rained briefly,
Yeah.
a couple nights, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's try that. You've got a picture of our camp.
Yeah, yeah. Another jackal.
That's quite a tail.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the coat, yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah, there's different types of jackals around. And these are
Storks again?
more storks, right? Yeah, they're probably the same type we saw earlier.
The star, right?
Really?
And all the warthogs playing in the mud.
Just yawning, I think.
So were they making much noise, the hippos?
No.
Oh,
No,
sometimes
Did
they
you hear
really
them
do.
do that? Did you hear them
No.
making
I
their
don't
hippo
remember.
noise?
I don't know what they
No.
did.
Yeah, it's interesting.
What does it sound like, Claire?
Yeah.
They're very loud, and I don't think I can do a very good.
How about if you had your trombone, could you do it?
Lines cross the
Right in front, right in front of the land.
And this is one male antelope, and this is his little harem. And they say that he'll only keep them for maybe a couple of years, because some other male is gonna come along and supplant him
Yeah, put it out.
and kick him out. There's a crocodile.
Very regal.
Yep, there you are. And this was very interesting. This is a leopard that we spotted. And this was a place that you wouldn't believe the number of trucks that were at this spot. And we followed this, the truck kept moving as the leopard moved in this
It's sort
rock.
of like a double mount, wasn't
Yeah. And then we saw a second leopard. And what it turned out to be was a mating dance between a male and a female. Which again, our guides were just going nuts. I don't think they'd ever seen it for him in a long time. It was just really unusual to be able to see this because they're very solitary, and it only happens like over a 10-day period, once a year.
And the female would hurry to get in front of the male. He might just be walking along minding his own business. And she'd get in front of him and she'd walk back and forth in front of him.
Yeah, but we went back and forth across that rock face, up and down and over. I mean, this just doesn't capture it. It was for a very long time, they were just going after each other, walking.
Look how long that tail is at the back. You can see it curling up and around on
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, they had
Following
long,
it.
they had long tails.
And then we came upon another bull elephant. Made friends with Sarah. And I actually, by this point in the trip, I sort of said, I'd taken so many pictures, I started to take some little videos, which I have on the computer afterwards, so we can show them. I have a picture, just a short video of this elephant eating. And you can, he just was like pulling up the grass, ripping up the grass and chomping on it.
Yes.
There's no glass next to you.
Oh, right.
Right, we're standing. Some other people had to stand in their seats, we did not. But, our heads were out
Yeah,
of
so you could just take a picture right out here. Your head would be right here.
No,
So this is George, this is David, and these are our other two drivers at his stop.
right.
And again, lazy leopard. It's a leopard, this lying there
That's
slicing.
their front legs hanging down.
A huge tree, yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Three sizes of,
Yes, and the ring.
Barbara.
I kept thinking.
And then off they went. And there's a lion there, surveying things. Another hyena.
So,
Back-
Larry,
Yes.
did you ever see like a pride of lions walking along?
Well,
Or I'm seeing like a lot of single lions that I
well,
don't know if you just focused on those or.
no, that was, anytime there was a lion, I took a picture. So we did see that little group that was crossing the road.
Right.
We did see, there was another,
Sleeping under the tree.
there was
Right.
another spot where there were a bunch that were just sort of sleeping under a tree.
But I think a pride is a male or two males, and it has to be 5 or 7, I forget, to be a pride. I think it has to be 7,
Okay.
so it has to be So did you see groups like that?
Well, we
or
did,
no?
I don't know if I have a picture, but there was a spot where we did see a whole bunch that were all sleeping under a tree, and there was probably at least 7. So these are all baboons crossing the road and heading off on the other side. And then we stopped at this little visitor center. This is an elephant skull, and that's a hippo skull.
Lower jaw.
And these are giraffe leg bones, which are, they're just incredibly dense and heavy. They apparently, they will ward off a lion by kicking it.
So their legs are like clubs.
You know,
Yeah. Oh, and this was a young male hippo who apparently was old enough that he had started bothering the females in the family and was chased away by, I don't know if the females chased him away or if the male in charge chased him away, and he didn't want to go, and he's actually bleeding a little bit. This is like he's just been chased away.
He also looks as though he's cast in bronze.
Yeah. He's
got some of the
solitary.
birds on him.
Right, the ox shepherd.
And this is where he came from.
Right.
Okay, buffalo. And this was our encampment in the Serengeti, where we were for 3 days.
3 or 4 days, something
So
like
you
And
kept
this-
going back to the same place.
And this is they built this. This is like, and this is only for 1 year. They've come in apparently with multiple trucks and bring everything, and then when it's done, they take it all away, and they don't reuse the campsite for years. So let it go back to nature. But, we did not need such luxury. This is where we stayed. This is where our flush toilet exited.
Really?
They dug a pit at each one of these tents, and this is where the shower. They would boil water. Anytime you wanted to shower, they would boil water,
over an open fire.
and they would fill that, and then you have a little shower where you could you could turn it on or off.
Right.
And this is for solar power.
And there's a sink in there too, obviously.
Right. And then we had lighting. We had solar power. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And that's just for the 2 of you?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's for the 2 of us.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
I think there were like 3 single beds in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, years ago when OAT started, I have a friend who went 30 years ago, and it was very primitive. And he was my age. It was he was 30 then, so he was just camping. It was not a big deal to camp. And then as their clientele has aged, people were spending more and more luxuries, and they upgraded and upgraded and upgraded.
And by the way, there's a front porch there, and you do hand laundry. They give you a bucket of water and I think 2 or 3 wash basins.
And they cooked for us. They made amazing meals for us. And we were served like on china with glasses.
Yeah.
So this is the stockpile where they cooked, had this stockpile of provisions and cooked for us every day. Tell them about the cake you made.
Oh, and get this, I can go into Princeton and buy an expensive dinner, and they don't have any dessert that I can eat. He made cake for me with chickpea flour and bread with chickpea flour for breakfast. In the middle of the Serengeti, with, bottled gas and I guess the refrigerator and freezer run off of, I don't know if it's a freezer, just a refrigerator or something.
Yeah.
Where are they getting their water? like for your shower?
I think it comes in a tank.
Yeah, they bring in a big tank of
Yeah.
water, yeah.
Yeah, they must have to bring in a new tank every week or something.
I was gonna say, you should put a filter for yourself.
You might have to stay a little longer to get that
So-
water.
Yeah,
So this is the Ngorongoro crater,
world famous.
which is famous for, it's filled with animals.
It is the largest intact, uninundated, crater. In other words,
In the
it's
world.
got, right, in the world, it's got a lake in the bottom of it, but there are larger ones under the ocean.
Is it volcanic or meteoric impact?
No, it's volcanic.
It's volcanic.
Yeah, volcanic,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think they said it was originally a mountain, or before it collapsed, it was a mountain the size of, Kilimanjaro.
Jaro.
Which is not all that far away, and, it is, some animals can't get out. And other animals, it's, because it's too steep for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
And other animals, it's a lot of trouble to get out, so there are large populations that live here year-round.
And these are candelabra trees, which are, they're not technically cactuses, but they're succulent. And
And they have prickers.
yes, and they also have poison sap that was used for poison arrows.
Nice to know.
And this, we stopped for a long time and watched this. There were three lionesses who were strategically placed, and they were hunting some warthogs. They were slowly creeping in from three angles. The warthogs would move a little bit, the lions would move a little bit. And I have a short video just showing the lion walking along. And they never got close enough to make an attack. I mean, this is the thing with predators, they have many, many misses, but they were clearly trying, to seize this opportunity, which, didn't materialize, but it was very cool to watch them strategizing and warthogs slowly moving off.
Taking down a warthog must be no fun.
Oh, yeah, warthogs are very hard to get, yes, yeah. The Ngorongoro.
They check in, but they don't check out.
There you go. And again, I've got a couple of short videos I can watch if people are interested of this.
Let's get down there. Is there a switchback trail or?
There's a road.
Yeah.
It's pretty steep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that road is too steep for these animals to use
Well-
that road? I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Apparently some animal, I can't remember which animals can't really quite make it out.
It's just it's a one-way road, so it's a circle, so, I mean, I think.
One
They
entrance,
don't
one
really
exit.
follow traffic.
Right, right.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not a big
Yeah, they
road.
get ticketed if they go the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is that a road runner?
That's a secretary bird.
I don't think
Said the
so.
secretary.
We do see lots of secretary birds, I don't think that's
But
one.
they were
Okay,
farther
it's something
away.
in the same family
They
though, it's
have-
not a road
Is
runner.
it
They
a
look-
mustard?
It looks like one of the kinds of
Oh,
bustards.
bustards, yes, that's what we heard, yes,
Bustards.
that's what it is, exactly, yes. And this
I thought
one,
it
this is another stop, I mean, that's a hippo there in the water, there.
Gorgeous tree.
Oh my.
And this bird, it just stood there, it got photographed like endless times by people, it never moved, it
It's
just,
right next to
and
a
it was-
rest stop. Well, it moved, I mean, it blinked
yeah,
and,
it did.
and once it flapped its wings.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so
it-
it's not just a plant.
No, that's how their knees, that's
Isn't
how
that
their knees
crazy?
work, and the storks go down like that.
Backwards
That's,
knees.
their knees are backwards.
Yes.
It just looks so painful.
Needs a need a replacement.
Oh, and these were the crowned cranes again, crested cranes.
Larry, you're in the crater now, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
absolutely,
Very steep wall
it's huge.
back there.
Yeah.
And this is, just a random elephant just walking by there again.
So what's that, how far from the front of your picture over to the mountain, how far are you from that, the base?
It's hard to say, but it
Well,
is, I
we're
think it's
looking at
10 miles
trees.
across.
Oh, yeah.
It's how far across?
10 miles,
10 miles.
I think
Yeah, probably.
about 20 kilometers.
All right, so this is the next day. This is our last day, where we went to the school. The school is, it's a public school that is that the Overseas Adventure Travel contributes to. So,
Right, the government owns it, pays the teachers.
but if you want, I mean, much like in many parts of this country, if you want a good education, you have to pay for a private school. So the public schools, they don't have the teachers aren't as good, and they have very, very few provisions. They get very limited funding from the government.
Like $600 a year, and they have, what, eight classes of 30 or 40 kids.
Right. This is why we were encouraged to bring, pencils and pens and markers and coloring books and books and so on. So the kids were just very fun. They were very happy to see us.
And they probably got a day off from their studies.
And so tell them what you're doing here.
Oh, right, they encouraged us to try to communicate, and we did head and shoulders, knees and toes, yeah, that's what I was doing.
And this
They
is
thought I was silly.
in the classroom.
So the boys are wearing uniforms.
Well, and the
They're all wearing
Oh,
uniforms.
yeah.
Except
There's
for one
two.
little girl that had a pink shirt on in the
Oh,
picture
yeah.
before.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of girls in this.
Well,
We didn't see that.
You can't tell.
Yeah.
There's one girl wearing a hijab, and everyone who saw my
this
picture
is the
said, oh, there's only one
skirt,
girl.
skirt.
But, right,
Yeah.
Okay.
right, the only
Oh, yeah,
difference
they're
is,
pre-adolescents, you
yeah,
can't.
they all
Yeah,
wear,
yeah,
they
this
all
is
wear the
like-
same sweater.
This was like 5th grade, maybe, 4th grade, something
Yeah.
like that.
I don't remember doing the Eensy Beensy Spider.
Well, again, we have, if you want. you can- And at the end, they did a dance for us.
Oh, there's a lot of girls there.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
it's half and half. They all keep their hair very short because there's not a lot of water. And then the last thing we did, we went to this, again, this is just sort of part of the learning and discovery approach that they have. We went to this woman's house, and she was making lunch, and Sarah got to help make the lunch.
Nobody else followed.
So what do you call it? Yeah, Sarah?
I'm trying to remember, there's the pot, and she gave me, there's a bowl over there
It's
with
green.
green vegetables, and I think there was some onion.
What do you
but
have
it
for
was-
Is this
you're
carrot?
holding
Is
a
this-
pink
It
plate?
says carrots.
Right, she
That's
gave
a
me,
plate?
she gave me ingredients,
Is that
and
carrots?
I don't remember what went into it.
And this is probably polenta.
Polenta was a staple for them. And we had it, sometimes it was, you know, as runny as cream of wheat or something like that, and you could pour it. And other times it was solid enough that it was almost made into pancakes. Thick pancakes.
And we gave, this was our last day, so we gave away a lot of our earth tone clothes.
Yes, yeah.
Kept some of them, but, and we actually brought, we didn't bring anything specifically, but we gave away a lot of clothes.
This woman was called Mama Katerina, and she was widowed with, I think, 8 children. And she had to make a living for her children. The government gave her a small piece of land to live, and also she grew vegetables on it in the rainy season, and then sold them at farm markets like the ones that we visited with all those bananas and the cattle auction. And the other thing, somebody taught her to make bricks. And she, you know, someplace where there was clay, she made bricks, and she gathered firewood to fire the bricks, and she sold them,
I
and she
noticed-
did well.
I noticed her house was made of bricks, yeah.
And she built a house
Yeah.
for herself and her children, and she is now able to hire people to make bricks, and she sells them. And I have to say, I never knew her, but a great-grandmother of mine was widowed twice, the second time with 5 children. And the second time with 4 children, and she was pregnant. And I guess her husband knew he was sick and dying, and so she knew how to grow vegetables, and they ran a little grocery store out of the front of their house. And so, you know, similar thing. Every inch of her backyard was growing vegetables that she sold.
So, that's it, we went home.
Yeah.